This is the Casio PX-S3000, the bigger brother to the Casio PX-S1000, which I have earlier reviewed. I will be running the Casio PX-S3000 through its paces from an everyday user's perspective. I will be covering on items such as the tone quality, the rhythm quality, the build quality, the key action, the amplification system, as well as the general usability of this Casio PX-S3000 digital piano. The first impression I got from the Casio PX-S3000 is an instrument I like very much. I am a traditional piano player, so I like 88 keys on my keyboards, but I am also an arranger keyboard player. I teach on the arranger keyboard as well. So having an instrument like this, which is a hybrid, an 88 key arranger piano function kind of keyboard, works well for me. In the same space as the Casio PX-S3000, we have the Yamaha DGX660, which also has 88 weighted keys and has arranger function as well, as the Korg Havian, which is also an 88 weighted key piano that has the rhythm styles function from the Korg library. And I will be making a couple of features comparison where and when it is applicable. After using the Casio PX-S3000 for a little while, I found that this piano indeed does many things well. It has a lot of features and functions that I'm looking for in an 88 key hybrid keyboard piano combination. However, there are a few things which is an Achilles heel for this piano. It may or may not be a deal breaker for you, so make sure you stay tuned to the end of this video to find out. In the meantime, if you like what's coming up on this video, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up right now. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Jeremy C, and in my channel I make reviews, tips, tutorials about arranger keyboards and portable digital pianos. Sometimes I make videos about Singapore, where I am from as well. If you enjoy content like this, make sure you subscribe and smash that notification bell icon to keep updated to what I'm doing. One of the first things that I really like about this piano is that it is relatively affordable at US $799 list price. You might get it cheaper elsewhere, but the list price is US $799. And the other competitors like the DGX660 as well as the Korg Havian are definitely significantly much higher price. And what I also like is that this entire setup is in a very compact package. Right now, this piano is the world's most compact 88 key hammer action piano with speakers. And at 11 kilos, this Casio PX-S3000 is significantly lighter than the DGX660 as well as the Korg Havian as well. And the Casio PX-S3000 has quite a number of stunningly lush piano sounds with really detailed damper resonance, string resonance that can be controlled either on board or via the Kodana app. And the 192 notes polyphony is just perfect on this instrument, especially when you have the rhythms running, the accompaniment running. A lot of the notes would just pretty much be gobbled up. This is one problem I had on the Casio CTX 5000, which had a polyphony of 64 notes, and 64 notes with so many stuff that's happening on the background is simply not enough. If you want to have nice long sustained piano sounds as well as an accompaniment pattern running, you realize that you run out of notes if you haven't got enough polyphony. And with 192 notes polyphony, this is just perfect. And this being the bigger brother to the Casio PX-S1000, this unit has a lot more sounds than the Casio PX-S1000. So the Casio PX-S1000 is meant more for a piano player and maybe a light gigging musician. But this is a full-blown arranger piano hybrid, which inherits 700 voices from the Casio CTX 5000. You can find many voices which are missing in the PX-S1000, such as your saxophones, your flutes, your classical guitar, your acoustic guitar, your electric guitars, synth sounds, bass sounds. All of them can be found in here. You can also find numerous drum kits included on the Casio PX-S3000. And in my previous review of the Casio PX-S1000, I did mention that the keys were just not heavy like an acoustic grand piano. Let's be frank, honest, and upfront. The physics behind such a small and compact setup will not be able to replicate the complex action of a grand piano. However, the lightweight and super fast action of this keyboard shines really well on this S3000. That is because a lot of the acoustic instruments, guitar sounds, synth sounds, flute sounds, saxophone sounds, trumpet sounds really do very well with a lighter touch of the keyboard. And this 700 sounds found on the S3000 really benefits from this lighter touch response of this keyboard, which really balances well if you want to play piano. There is still sufficient weight there, but if you are playing the acoustic instruments, it is fine as well. Inherited from the Casio CTX5000 are also the rhythms you find in here. So the Casio PX-S3000 inherited 200 out of the 235 rhythms found on the Casio CTX5000. And the 200 rhythms found on this digital piano includes your intro, 2 variations, 2 fill-ins, and an ending. You will also find the auto accompaniment backing track function, which has various modes like your different fingered modes, your Casio chord mode, as well as your fingered on bass mode. Finally, it also has the full keyboard detection mode, which detects chords no matter where on the keyboard you're playing it. The speakers included on the Casio PX-S3000 is not the most powerful. We have 8 watts on each side. It faces back of the piano. It also has little grooves where the keys are, and that fires towards the player for you to monitor your sounds. So 8 watts on each side isn't exactly the most powerful. The Casio CTX5000 actually has even more powerful speakers, and I wish that something of that magnitude is included on this piano, but I guess something has to be sacrificed for the compactness of this unit. However, the speakers are of a good quality, even with all the rhythms running at full blast, full volume, with the bass line running, and you playing a couple of sounds on the right hand, layering a couple of tones. There is no distortion even at the maximum volume. Inherited from the Casio CTX line, we also get 100 arpeggiator patterns as well as 12 auto harmony modes, which harmonizes your right hand melody playing together with your chords that you are playing on your left hand. This is a full-featured digital piano arranger. You are able to layer 2 sounds on the keys. You are also able to split this keyboard into 2, right? And having one sound on the left side and another sound on the right side. And you can also still have your layered sounds on the right side while you are playing another voice on the left side, which gives you a total of 3 voices going on at the same time. In addition, you can micro-control every part of that parameters. You can apply effects on specific parts of the keyboard, the upper, the lower, or the upper 2. You can also determine whether you want to have sustain on both parts or only on one of the layered parts, which is really useful if, for example, you are layering piano and strings. You want the sustain to be on the piano sounds, right? When you step on the sustain pedal, you only want the piano sounds to be sustained, but you do not want the string sounds to be sustained. And you can actually do that. You can actually specify exactly which layer you want to have certain effect or certain function on. And true to its philosophy of being more than just a piano, this digital piano comes with a pitch bend wheel as well as 2 assignable knobs that you can assign to different effects. And there's a whole list of effects that you can actually control using those 2 knobs. This is a feature usually found on synthesizers as well as arranger keyboards like the Yamaha PSR E463, EW410. But on a piano, this is usually not the case, but Casio has included this, and it's really useful if you're playing large pad sounds and you want to have real-time control and modifying of the sounds, as well as synth sounds. You want to have your sweeping filters. This you can do on the Casio PX-S3000. And in my previous video of the Casio PX-S1000, I complained that there was no way of storing registration settings. After you set up all your sounds, there's no way of storing those settings. This has been resolved in the PX-S3000. The PX-S3000 has 92 slots where you can store all your voice settings, all your tempo settings, your rhythm settings, and basically every effect that you have configured, you can save them into each of the 92 registration slots. I also like the Bluetooth connectivity on this piano. I can instantly and very easily pair it up with my mobile phone and stream backing tracks, which my students can play along with. In order to retain the very slim form factor and sleek look of the Casio PX-S3000, there is an included 3-line LCD screen. And the 3-line LCD screen doesn't display all the information that you want, but this is resolved by the Kodana app on your Android phone or tablet, and connecting it via USB, you actually get a very powerful interface on a big screen that you can then configure a lot of the different functions on this piano. You can configure the arpeggiators that you want to use. You can configure your harmonizing function. You can also select your different rhythms, your tempo, as well as trigger your start stops, your fills, as well as your sounds and your layers, all from the Kodana app. However, there are a few caveats that I have on the Kodana app, which I will talk about at the end of this video. It has been a long time coming, and finally we are able to record audio files directly onto the USB stick without having to go through some audio interface. And this is definitely a welcome move. You can just record your recording onto the USB stick, plug it into your computer, and you can send it off, email it to someone, WhatsApp to someone really easily. I also like the 1/4-inch outputs of this piano because you can then connect external monitor speakers or connect to an external PA system when you are out on gigs. And the tri-pedal option on this piano is useful as well for traditional pianists who needs the soft pedal and the sostenuto pedal. Something that I use very frequently on arranger keyboards are assignable pedal functions. Finally, Casio has allowed assignable pedals on the Casio PX-S3000 series. So by plugging in the damper pedal, you can actually use it to control things like your fill-ins, your start and stop, as well as to sequentially move through your registration. So you can keep your hands free and move to your next set of sounds using the pedal without having to press the buttons physically. And one of the plus points of this piano, which is not found on the DJX660 and the Korg Havian, is the ability to run on your normal AA batteries. Let me tell you this story of mine. I have this student who needs a piano, 88 keys, and she only has space on the corner of her room, which is really far away from the AC mains of that room. So it's gonna be a really messy long cable to the AC mains, and she bought the Casio PX-S1000 because of its ability to use batteries, and she is fine practicing on the piano in the corner of the room without power supply and no problem at all. And that is something she's not able to do if she were to buy another piano or keyboard that doesn't run on batteries. Two major features on the Casio CTX 5000 that was not brought over to this piano are the style creator, the ability to create your own custom styles, and the phrase pads function. I don't miss those functions, frankly, on the Casio CTX 5000, and I am fine that it wasn't brought onto this piano, because to have that, you would really have to have a much more complex user interface, and creating styles is not something that someone do most of the time. It is usually reserved for those who are more advanced players, and even for the phrase pads, I don't see a lot of people using that very often. So there you go, there is so much to like about this piano, the Casio PX-S3000. We have a great price, we have great looks, we have a very solid compact package, we have great features and great sounds and rhythms. However, there are a few things which I believe that Casio should have worked on, should not have skipped over, and would have made this a really solid package. And these are the things. The very first thing is the ability to name the registration on this piano. So right now the registration just goes by bank number 1 and area 4, or bank number 2, area 3, and there's no way to name these registration location. There is a naming system that is already included in this piano. You are able to name the wave files, the wave audio files that you record onto your USB stick. So there is already a naming system in this keyboard. I wish that Casio had included the function and used that same exact function to be able to name your registration, so that it becomes something that's easy to remember, right? Like the name of a song is way easier to remember than Bank 1, Area 4. This is something that could have been very easily implemented within the keyboard. The Casio CTX 5000 has 4 variations to every rhythm that it has. However, when Casio brought it down to this piano, it just shrunk to 2 variations. Casio, why oh why could you not have left us with the 4 variations and the 4 fill-ins? All you need is just 2 additional buttons on this piano. There is still so much space on the fascia of this piano. It would have cost you almost nothing, because the rhythms itself are already programmed with 4 different variations and 4 different fill-ins. Could you not have given us all 4? Did you have to strip it down to 2? The USB audio output only goes to a USB stick. This is nice, but it is regrettable that Casio didn't take it one step further. They could have made it such that it can output audio directly to a DAW. It should be able to output digital audio direct into your computer. It currently is not able to do that. Okay, the next gripe that I have is really something that I have been ranting and raving to Casio about. In this day and age where things are about user experience and being easy to use, being logical and intuitive, I'll be very frank with you, this, just like the Casio CTX 5000, is not really easy to maneuver. We have a lot of very deeply nested functions, deeply nested menus, that if you don't have the manual, the user manual beside you, you most likely would not be able to figure out how to get certain things done. Even stuff like your basic functions, right? If you want to just adjust your parts volume. All these has to go through nested menus. And all this nested menu is due to the fact that Casio is trying to reduce the number of buttons on the fascia, number 1. Number 2, they have a very tiny 3-line LED screen. So that is not going to help in terms of the user experience at all. I can already foresee people who use this when they're out there gigging and they want to change settings on the fly. You want to change effects, parameters, volumes, on and off certain settings on the fly. You're going to have trouble, right? Because you cannot just turn on and off stuff. That is something which I find is a major downfall for this piano. For home use, fine, it is good, right? Because you have all the time in the world to slowly fiddle and figure things out. That's okay. And if you're using it to gig and all you're using is just a couple of sounds and not going for a really complex setup and not having to do like improvised settings, especially if you're playing for church setting, for example. You know, the worship leader may just call out a song which needs certain settings done, and you are just gonna be jammed up here. You cannot maneuver quickly with this user interface. It wasn't always like that. You guys had the Casio PX-560, which was launched in 2015, 3 years ago. That had a really nice, beautiful touchscreen. But you guys took that away and decided to go for form rather than function. So this leads us to the next issue, and that is the Kodana app. So the Kodana app kind of replaces the big screen experience, right? You guys would say that yes, with the Kodana app, you can put a 10-inch or even a 12-inch iPad Pro screen and you have the biggest screen ever with your piano, right? And you can change all the settings that you want, do all the things that you want on the Kodana app. And kudos to you guys, your Kodana app is usable for both Android and iOS. Unlike Yamaha, which doesn't have an app for their PSR series or even for their DJX series. They have an app for their Clavinovas as well as the P series. But there is one problem. As of now, the date of this video, the Android app for the Yamaha P series is broken. It doesn't work with my P121 and my P125. It doesn't work at all. And with my students' P515, the Android app doesn't work. And kudos to Casio for making an app that works with both iOS and Android, because there are a lot of Android users out there. Let's not deny that. So yes, that solves the problem of having a big screen. But for anyone who has used the Kodana app, one big gripe of the Kodana app, which I have, is that it is laggy. It has latency issues. If you go into the rhythm selection and then you go into the groups of rhythm and you try to select a rhythm, it is not immediate. You know, in these days and age of the iPhone and of the Samsung phones, people expect immediate reaction when they click. And when you're out there doing gigs and you're doing selection, you're not gonna wait and for that thing to react in like 2-3 seconds. That's not gonna happen. It has to be instantaneous, and it must be a lot more stable. For some reason, the Kodana app just sometimes randomly goes into recording mode when I didn't even touch the piano, I didn't touch the app at all, and it just springs up, you are now in recording mode. It just isn't stable, and it just isn't as polished as it should be. There is a lot of potential in it, but you guys need to put in a lot more work to make that work very well. It has to be snappy, it has to be free from bugs. And the reviews and ratings on the App Store shows your users are frustrated, the app doesn't work all the time as it should, it just doesn't have the speed, finesse, and snappiness of something which should go well with this piano. I hope you guys enjoyed this in-depth review of the Casio PX-S3000 by an everyday piano player. If you did, do make sure you subscribe, smash that like button and the notification bell icon. Till the next time, bye-bye.